I started with a project on the Syrian civil war. After the project was over, I ultimately asked myself what my responsibility as a 13-year-old Boulder was. How many of you remember this shocking photo of Aylan, the drowned Syrian refugee boy that was all over the internet in 2015? Since 2011, Syria has been in a state of unrest and violence as conflict has escalated between the government and rebel forces. Many civilians have died, and many more have been left homeless or as refugees. Most news sources tend to highlight the pessimistic aspects of conflicts. They often use pictures to evoke emotions. This approach is efficient. You wouldn't respond to a sweet picture the same way you would respond to a sad picture. But do they serve real impact? The proceeding of the National Academy of Sciences did a study on the photo of Aylan shown at the beginning of the slideshow. As you can tell, the Swedish Red Cross donations increased substantially when the photo was first released, but they quickly dropped. Shocking photos do impact many individually. They evoke emotion and raise awareness, possibly even raise some money, but ultimately, impact is minimal. The photo of Aylan, shown at the beginning of the slideshow, was spread all over social media, and it did bring much-needed awareness to the conflict in Syria, but it was short-lived and didn't have any long-lasting impact on the war or the plight of refugees. As I was researching the impact of the photo, I came to the conclusion that people do care and do respond to shocking photos in the news. They are important, but easily forgotten over time. How do people forget something so pressing? Social media is a way people communicate and show their views. As many of you know, social media is one of the main outlets for the sharing of news, personal opinions, and support or opposition to different events. Since I've become more active in social media and in reading the news, there have been some horrible outbreaks of conflict and many terror-related attacks. I've been more curious as to what my role is as a member of the global community. In November of 2015, just a couple of months after the photo of Aylan was published, Nice, Paris was victim to a horrible terrorist attack. It was heart-wrenching to see all of these innocent people's lives being taken. When this attack happened, I noticed many people in my social media feed changed their profile pictures, their bios, they tweeted, Instagram, and Snapchatted all of these occurrences. Another study from University of Sheffield found that the spread of the photo of Aylan on social media did impact the sentiment towards Syrian refugees, but it was ultimately counteracted by the 2015 Paris terror attack. As I was researching this conflict, I was finding so many terrorist attacks on people that I'd never heard of, let alone seen people change their profile pictures for. I was curious as to why people acted so differently to such similar acts of terror. I found this picture, and it brought a different perspective to me. Notice how this is an actual headline from when the Nice terrorist attack happened. There are many examples of different terrorist attacks, as well as the amount of deaths from each place. Notice how there's no mention of Syria. Do we respond differently to different cultures? Je suis Charlie was everywhere, but it never not Aylan. Pray for Paris, but never pray for Aleppo. Do we see people different than us, less human than us? This picture of Aylan, shown at the beginning of the slideshow, shows the human side of the war, but it is still forgotten. How can we move towards solidarity with people different than us? One way I plan to try is by sharing the stories of people in a way that shows how they are similar to us instead of the way they are perceived by media. Media impacts our sentiment. It makes us feel, but it doesn't make us see everyone as equals. The next time you see a picture on Twitter or Instagram, you need to remind yourself that it needs so much more than a retweet. These are people that are doing the work. They're staying posted long after after the image was forgotten. Support Syrians on Twitter. Syrian Civil Deaf on Twitter are great resources. Just by following 2 or 3 accounts, you can remember that Syria still needs support. And with the right amount of it, we can make Syria a better place. I want to use my social media platform to inform people of what is happening. I want to use my voice to show people that everyone matters and we're all in this together. I'm determined to advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves. I invite you to join me. Thank you.